Hello everyone!
Hello.
Welcome to my channel. If you are seeing this video in my channel for the first time, I'm Badispanya. I'm a 29-year-old expat living in Dordrecht, Netherlands. Today, Soreh is a guest on my channel and she's my friend from Dordrecht expat group. Hi Soreh, thanks for accepting this video offer from me. She's really one of the ladies that I admire in Netherlands because we have kind of similar stories. She also
That's the clock.
she also came for love, let's say, but today we are not gonna be talking about this story. We will be talking about her entrepreneurship story in Netherlands and how she stands up on her own feet, let's say. So I wanted to share this story with you and I want to ask the questions on my mind regarding how to be an entrepreneur in the Netherlands to ask to Soreh in front of the camera because I know it's one of the most wondered topics. I hope the answers will be also giving some ideas to you on this topic. Can you tell what you do now?
Yeah, so I'm Sora, and my company is called Sora Writes, and I do all kinds of writing, editing, and virtual assisting. I also do some very light Dutch to English translation, but just very basic. For companies and for people, so I write CVs, cover letters, website content, blog posts, social media posts. I edit essays and theses, pretty much just whatever anyone asks me. Like right now I'm writing an article for a magazine, and I'm also writing a brochure for a company in Eindhoven, so it's kind of like all over the place.
Yeah, you need to be financially independent in the Netherlands, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's why you a bit go to improve yourself in multiple areas because you need to earn money too, as all people, I think.
Course.
Yeah, and by the way, we didn't talk about who are you, where are you from and how old are you? Maybe it might be also good because I know you are super young, which is so motivating for the young followers maybe.
Yeah, so I'm 24, I'm Sora, and my parents are from Russia, from Belarus and from Russia. But I was born in the United States and raised in the United States, and I moved to the Netherlands when I was 21.
So it's been 3 years in the Netherlands for you.
Yeah, a little bit over 3 years.
But of course you were not an entrepreneur on day one, right?
No,
you were working at the beginning for another American company.
Yeah, so I was working for a real estate company in New York City, and I was working there in person. I worked for them until April of this year, and then I got a message from them saying that they don't want people working remotely anymore, so I of course started looking for a new job. And I did go to some job interviews and got a job offer, but it wasn't what I wanted to do. I've been working remotely since I moved to the Netherlands, even before Corona. So for me to work in an office, not have that freedom of just taking my laptop, going wherever I want, it was just difficult for me. And also working for companies, especially American companies, you barely get any vacation time. When you're on vacation, you're still working. Yeah, my partner and I talked a lot, and he was like, this is not what you wanted to do. And I also had a blog for about, I think it was a year at that time. And he's like, well...
You started here also blogging?
Yeah, I started my blog during Corona.
Yeah.
And I also been freelancing, doing random writing and editing projects for many years, but just, once in a blue moon, a little project. So I decided to just go full time and do that.
And how did it go? Because you are in a new country. I remember myself in the first days, I was even searching for how to buy things from supermarket. And when you are new in a country, I assume building your own company as an entrepreneur must be a bit... where do I start from? What should I do now, etc. So how did you manage that process?
Yeah, well, I'm actually extremely lucky because my Dutch partner, Kevin, most of his family members actually own their own businesses.
Oh.
So I've already seen some of the process because he helps a lot of his family members with their different businesses because he's very good with computers, so all this tech stuff.
Yeah.
And he already helped me with my blog, so I could understand how to write a website and that part. But for all the other stuff, of course I didn't know where do you go to the government, what programs do you need. So he helped me, Google it all, and also his family's accountant also agreed to take me on as as my accountant.
Because you need an accountant as an
You
entrepreneur.
don't need an accountant, but it's highly advised that you have an accountant.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm really lucky that we have, I have such a support system.
By the way, there are a lot of people having their own businesses rather than working for a corporate company or government. Yeah, you were lucky a bit in the process because you had this boyfriend and his family.
Yeah.
But even if you don't have it in-house, I'm sure you can just find a friend who own his or her own business to ask some advice for, or to ask some tips for the process. For most of the countries that I've been in, I think Netherlands is one of the top countries with people with their own business.
Yeah, I'm not sure about the numbers, but it seems like a lot of people are.
Yeah, I hear it a lot.
And also the government websites like the Kamer van Koophandel, which is like where you sign up to be a business, and also the tax websites, they're all in English. So it's like very easy to be an entrepreneur from another country. And your mail from the tax authority is in Dutch, which is a bit annoying. But you can always call them and they'll answer your questions, or you can find a friend to, translate it, or you can use Google Translate, or, can ask your accountant, or there are just so many options.
Do you need to pay anything at the beginning?
Yeah, so when you first start your business, you only need to pay like 50 euros, I think.
50?
Yeah.
Okay.
So you first go and you have to sign up online on the KVK website, which is kvk.nl, I think. And you just, write the name of your business, what your website's going to be, your email address, phone number, that type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
You also need to have an address, which could be your home, depending on how your landlord's okay with it. So I'm lucky we own a home, so we don't have that problem. But if you have people coming and going, like if you meet clients a lot, then sometimes landlords are not okay with that. So you might want to check with them. But if you own your own home, it's usually not a problem. Once you're all signed up, you also have to add like what type of business you are and what like little things you're going to do. Like the major things, so for me was like writing, editing, virtual assisting. And
in English?
Yeah. And then you sign up and then you get an appointment date to go to the KVK office. So for me, I went like 2 weeks after I signed up to Den Bosch, even though I live in Roosendaal, but there are like offices all over the Netherlands. That was just the soonest date that I can get. And then they explain everything to you. They make sure that your business name doesn't interfere with someone else's business name.
Oh, nice. Yeah, important.
Yeah. Then you sign, and then you pay 50 euros, and you get a booklet, and you're a business owner.
Really, this is the easiest formula that I've ever heard.
I know it sounds like really crazy that it's that easy, but it actually was really easy.
Yeah.
After that, it gets a little bit more complicated because you have to figure out, your taxes and your accountant and all this stuff. So a few days after you go to the office and sign all the paperwork, you get like a notice in the mail from the tax authority with your login and your tax number. You have a private tax number and a public tax number. And the public tax number you have to put on all your invoices, you have to put on your website. You also, when you deal with clients, you have to get their tax number, you have to keep it on file. And also the tax login is to, obviously file your quarterly sales VAT tax and also for your income tax.
How did you feel when you did it?
Of course I was freaking out because it's kind of hard to find clients, but technically, I'm pretty good at finding them. Just 1 month you have a lot of work and 1 month you have no work. You also have to you don't have to, but it's highly advisable that you create some sort of contract so that customers don't, if they don't pay, that you can send it to a debt collector. You also should have your terms and conditions, which I did not have. And yes, I had a customer who did not pay to this day.
So is it a lesson learned? And
yeah, definitely a lesson learned. Now I usually take a deposit of 40 to 50%.
Yeah.
They also, once they pay the deposit, I write a first draft, and then after the first draft, they have to pay me the rest of the amount, otherwise I'm not continuing.
Yeah. Can you write it by yourself, or do you need to go to some notary?
No. You could write it yourself. You just have to know that if any of your terms and conditions contradict with the Dutch government laws, then they might not apply. Then always Dutch law will rule.
At the beginning, I also assume as an expat here in the Netherlands, you only, or not only, but mostly know your partner and his network. So how did you start finding customers, especially in Netherlands, let's say?
Yeah, so I actually wrote some blog posts on my blog about how to find a job in the Netherlands, and I included like a link that if people need help with their CVs and cover letters, they can contact. I also posted a lot on LinkedIn.
I was also seeing your post at the beginning on the Expats Norway group on Facebook.
Definitely in Facebook groups too. On occasion, I'll post about, you know, what I can do for you and things like that. So you just got to be really, really proactive. And I also sometimes post on my personal Instagram, less on my business Instagram and Facebook. I probably should, but I don't do it.
I can also suggest, by the way, there is a free digital marketing course by Google, and he gives you all the tips, tricks, what you should do as a business owner on digital media. Opening a social media channel is one of them, but there are also really other good tips, and it's in English. If you don't have any idea about these things or how to support your business with social media, you might definitely go check that training of Google also.
And there are also websites like Upwork, Fiverr, and Work for Impact. But you have to be very, very careful, because I started with Upwork, but then I realized that most of the companies, they just hire you to do a test task for very cheap, and then they use that work, and then they don't hire you for any other work, because they only want to pay for the sample piece, and then they publish that. So I stopped completely with that.
So in general, I think at the beginning there will be some people or companies who might try to use your skills for free as an entrepreneur.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because you are at the beginning in need of finding a customer, so you are a bit more willing to do some free work for them. But it may not turn out to be something very good, right, at the end.
And I also think you should never do work for free, honestly. Like, I always tell anyone opening their own business that you should never ever do work for free. You can do it for a bit less if you want to, but you still have a skill that you spent years probably being good at.
And it must be a bit private question, but I'm sure it's wondered a lot. Do you earn enough to live alone in the Netherlands, for example?
I don't think I earn enough to live alone in the Netherlands, no.
But with a partner,
With a partner, absolutely.
If you share your cost with two people, then it's easier than living alone.
Yes, but the person, for me at least, in my situation, Kevin makes significantly more than I make. He makes like double or triple sometimes, depending on the month. So for me, that works. But also depends on how you live. We also like taking vacations, but during our day-to-day life, we're pretty frugal. So if you're someone that's always buying new clothes, new shoes, new cars, new things like that, you're definitely not going to be able to afford it at the beginning, unless you have, you have these incredible connections with rich people that I think most people don't have. So.
But do you earn around minimum wage?
So depending on the month. Some month I make like 1,000 euros in invoicing. That's not my costs. I also have to pay for an accountant, I pay for Microsoft, I pay for an editing software, and I pay for a bunch of different things. So you also pay for your phone, for your computers, things like that. So some months I make, like I invoice like 1,000, but you don't even see most of that. And then some months, like February, I think so far I've invoiced like 2,000, maybe a bit over 2,000. So that's a good month. But I think on average from the last 6 months, I made like 1,600 a month. So it was always like, my profit was like non-existent.
But I think as for all entrepreneurs, start making profit directly at the beginning is something not common. So you start living your own life, you just circulate yourself, and then after some time, after you invest in your network and services, you start making profit. So I would say, know it and take your step accordingly, because
Yeah.
it will not be like building your own business. Whoa, you are rich the next day.
No, definitely not. I haven't even been my own business for a year. In July, in July will be my own business. And yeah, you should not go into working for yourself at the beginning if you want to make a lot of money, because most of the time it's not going to happen.
Maybe at the beginning, if you also have a job at a company, you can start with small steps by after work hours you can spend some freelancing or something. And then when you have enough self-sufficiency, let's say in terms of earning money enough, supporting yourself financially, and live minimum life that you can here, maybe you can take the serious steps afterwards.
Yeah, and also if you have a partner that's willing to support you, or if you have savings, like during the pandemic, we saved a lot of money, both Kevin and I. Even if I don't work for like 6 months, I can still afford to live because I have money saved. Not that I want to spend that money, but
in case.
Yeah, exactly. And also I think as an entrepreneur, like something that I've been working towards is having multiple sources of income. So not just getting money for my clients, but trying to make money for my blog. And you probably one day will make money from YouTube, or maybe you're already making money from YouTube.
No, not yet.
And also like just, different things.
Do you think, is there any difference between being a guy entrepreneur and a woman entrepreneur in the Netherlands?
For me personally, no. I think usually women have a harder time like, being dominant and putting themselves out there. I have met a few people that have been trying, to be entrepreneurs, and they just have a hard time. It's hard sometimes, like when you send out work that you've done, and then also this happens to me once in a while, and then you're like, oh, is it good enough? Or maybe I didn't do it the way they wanted me to. But I think men have less of that mentality. But honestly, for me, like, I've always been very good at, being proactive. I come from a family of 15 kids, so if you don't fight your way, you're not going to get anywhere. So I think for me it hasn't been, I really don't see any problem like in between being a man or a woman.
So you always fight for what you deserve, let's say.
Yeah, and you can't give up. Like, just because someone says no, it doesn't mean no. It just means not now.
Yeah.
So you have to, every few months or so, you should follow up with people, see how things are going, things like that. I also sent at the end of the year like a Christmas Happy New Year card to all my clients via email as like a digital thing. And
it's a good point, because if you're an entrepreneur, you are the sales team, you are the customer experience team, you are the media team, you are the operational team, product team, all the teams you are in yourself, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So you need to have these all skills, let's say. If you are a bit shy to follow up, if they're shy to call again when they say no, then you will grow slower than you can probably.
Yeah. I think this is something that's not talked about enough. But a lot of times when you see videos on, social media or YouTube or whatever, people are like, oh, you want to grow your business, it's so important to grow. But honestly, like, growing can mean different things for different people. Like, if you just want to work yourself and not work with other people, that's okay too. Like, you don't have to hire people.
Yeah.
Honestly, like, right now, in my, like, point of view, if I want, let's say I started making I have too many projects and I can't handle it. Right now in my life, I would probably say, okay, just say no to the projects. Other people would outsource them and make a percentage of, the money. Yeah, but for me, it's not something I really want right now. I don't know if it'll be something that I want in the future, but it's okay to do it your way. And don't listen to what other people say, because this is your life. And if you don't want to be crazy busy and, driving yourself nuts, then that's okay too.
And it's also one of the advantages of being an entrepreneur, because you have an option to decide on your workload. Either you can say, okay, I want to work 4 hours a day and I want to do something else in the rest of my day, it is okay. Or if you want to say, I want to work 16 hours a day, it is also fine. So you decide how much you should work and how much you should earn. It's all in your hands. So it is I think I would say it's one of the advantages of being an entrepreneur comparing to a corporate career, let's say.
Also, you have to make sure to charge enough. I think that's something that a lot of times people have problems with starting out. I also had this problem, like how much do you charge? And let's say you would make 20 euros an hour at a traditional company. That's not enough as a business owner because you have all these other expenses. Like you're not getting a typical company pension like most companies, and just you don't get days off paid like in a company. Like that's not a thing. So, and you have to pay for an accountant and different programs and an office if you need one and all these different things. So I usually charge like 45 to 55 an hour. Because I don't usually even see half of it.
Yeah.
And then also you have to pay 21% sales tax. It's called VAT. So, for example, I charge 175 euros and 45 cents for a CV, to do a CV, but I only see 145 of that at the beginning because 21% goes to the government immediately. And then also you have to pay income taxes and all your expenses. So people think, oh, that's so much money, it's so expensive. But first of all, you have a skill that you spend a lot of time building. And also you have so many more expenses than, a typical employee.
Correct.
So
yeah, makes sense. Is Dutch system helpful for entrepreneurs to start your own business and to encourage them with all the tax system?
Yeah, I actually think the tax system here is actually really great for small businesses because first of all, anything you buy as a business owner, so if you buy a computer, 21% you have to pay it usually, but you'll get that back. Depending on if it's like if you buy like an air conditioning for your office or something, then you pay that over years and it gets like, it's like a whole calculation thing. This is why you should also have an accountant. But also you only pay income tax over your profit. So if you have expenses, if let's say you invoice 1,000 euros a month, 21% of that goes to the government for VAT. Then the rest of the amount, let's say your expenses are more than that amount, then you made no profit, so you don't pay income taxes usually. I always would say though, I'm not a tax expert, so please find yourself an accountant. Talk to the Belastingdienst. The website's also in English.
We can say that it's not that wild system that eats up the entrepreneurs, but it gives you some kind of support in the circulation of your economy.
I think so. Last quarter I got like 500 back from the government from the quarterly taxes, and this quarter I got 21 euros.
Which means you earned good, I think. Then.
Yeah.
So it's good news. So what do you like the most about being an entrepreneur now?
Yeah, I love the freedom I have. I think some people, they're like, oh, if you're an entrepreneur, you'll have as much time as you want. That's not actually true because you need to find the work. That takes a lot of time. Then you also have to talk to all these people, and the majority of the time, they will not hire you. So then you also have to work, obviously. But I can just say, okay, I'm taking the afternoon off, and to go hang out with a friend, and as long as I met all my deadlines, then I can do whatever I want.
Yeah.
And also, if you work for a company, you always have to deal with their rules and regulations and when you can take off, and it just gets very annoying. Like as a freelancer at the beginning, it'll be very hard to turn down projects. Even for me, sometimes it's hard to turn down projects. But if I talk to someone and I notice that they're going to be extra difficult, then usually I'll just say, okay, I'm sorry, this is not the right fit for me. That means I'll make a little bit less money now, but that'll make me happier.
Yeah.
So
less headache.
Yeah.
If you go back to a corporate career one day in the Netherlands, what would be the reason?
Well, you don't have to try to find work.
Yeah.
If you work for a company, then you just get your work, and then every day you go and you work from 9 to 5 or whatever. Whatever you want. But as a business owner, until you have that reputation of people recommending you, people
word of mouth.
Yeah, exactly. you have a huge social media following, which is very hard to gain, you're gonna have to keep finding work, and that's a challenge.
Yeah, they have different pluses and minuses.
Yeah, of course.
It depends like which pluses you care about in life.
That's definitely true.
Before we wrap it up, like if you give one advice to people who wants to establish their own businesses in the Netherlands, what would it be?
Just do it. I'm serious. Like, the only reason I didn't start earlier is because I was afraid that I wasn't going to get a paycheck, and it's so hard to find clients, and you just make all these excuses for yourself. So just stop, because first of all, signing up to be a business owner is very easy, and especially if there's tons of content out there on the internet about how to set up a business and what to do about a pension and insurance and taxes and all these things in English.
Mm-hmm.
So just do it.
Yeah.
Stop making excuses. Like, the only thing standing between what you and what you want are your excuses. And that's also why I didn't start earlier, because I just made excuses.
Yeah, it's valid for the whole life story, actually. Yeah. Take action. Yeah. Okay, thanks a lot for your time, Soreh. Let's see what kind of questions and comments we will get, but I will be really happy if you guys ask your questions to Soreh, because she will be able to see it, so maybe she can reply. And I will be leaving all kind of links that I can give, including Soreh's business or generally entrepreneurship related links in Netherlands down below, so you can go check that. And thanks a lot for being here.
I'm glad we finally did this. It took so long.
We decided to do this video like 3 months ago or something. I'm so happy that we finally made it. Yeah. Okay, thanks a lot for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to channel if you like the content here. And see you in the next video.
Bye.
Bye.